everyone, it's Donna, and today we are talking about the new moon on May 22nd, 2020. We're going to go through the chart. I'm also going to be looking sign by sign just at the financial picture, so I'll put some timestamps in the description box below. And just a quick note, if you are new to the channel, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button. If you like videos like this, give me a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. So there's a lot to cover on this video, and I chose this more barren landscape as a little reminder that we are going to be talking about some of the things going forward. We, of course, are in a pandemic right now. We're still in lockdown as I'm recording this video, and I do think that overall we do have to be mindful. There's going to be a lot of people who start to see this as waning, but we have retrograde planets coming up, a lot of them. We have eclipses in June and July. We have Mars going retrograde and going to be doing some really intense aspects in the fall. And so it's just to stay safe. It really is a good idea to keep up some of the things that you're learning about independence and being able to take care of you and your family all together. So I'm staying stocked up when it comes to my supplies. I am, of course, I'm working at home and I do have that option, so I'm very, very fortunate. But for my clients who have to work with the public, there's going to be certain times of the year where that's going to be easier rather than, more stressful or actually, more risky. And so we'll be talking about that on this channel as we're going forward. Additionally, where you can, really focus on finding ways to make money by working at home or working in smaller groups. That's great. Working on our technology skills is always good because, technology is the way forward. Also, whatever you can do creatively, because even as we finish up with this pandemic, then we do still have the Saturn going through Aquarius, and then we're going to have Pluto eventually getting into Aquarius, and this is going to transform our lives through technology. And so as we see a future of self-driving cars and AI and more technology displacing jobs, it's going to be the creative jobs and the service jobs that propel the economy forward, or I should say, propel us forward. And so while service jobs, it's wonderful to be of service, that's great, but as we've seen in this pandemic, that's not always the way towards security. So having that backup of some creative thing that you can do, whether that be an online thing or something where you are taking tangible products and making those, these types of things going forward for the long term could really be beneficial. All right, let's focus on this new moon. So this new moon is going to cover about 4 weeks, and but we will talk a little bit about the trends going forward after that. Just to give you a heads up, I do plan to get the videos for the June eclipses out pretty soon, and so you'll have that information. And also, if you have specific questions, always consider leaving me a comment in the comment section below, or you can send me an email and we can talk about it. As always, if you need a copy of your chart, you can also send me an email for that. I need your birth information and I'll send you a PDF of your chart. So let's take a look at this new moon chart, and what we have is the Gemini new moon taking place here at very early degrees of Gemini and making a very obvious trine to Saturn. And this is an aspect where Saturn easily affects this new moon. And so where we feel like we're having a new beginning, that gets curtailed. Where we feel like things are going to be fresh and new, that is curtailed. We also see this as a curtailing of communication, so that where we wanted the truth or we wanted to get information to help us move forward, that is all held back by Saturn. Now, Saturn is going to make the demand that there be information that's very useful, information that we can act on. And so as we are actively using this energy, we need to focus on the Saturn to cut the clutter and find out what really is valuable for us. Now, there's a lot of people out there who maybe are investigating the origins of all that have happened, or the reasoning behind it. And while I feel that that's fine for some people, there's a lot of people where that's a rabbit hole that you can get caught in, where what you need to be focused on is where you are heading from today going forward. Because the most valuable thing in your life right now is what you do over the next few minutes. That is, can you take action now? Can you reach out and contact someone to get something moving, whether that is a relationship or whether it's a business opportunity? It is, what action are you able to take today, tomorrow, this next week, versus going back into history and uncovering things, which is interesting and it can be helpful. But if that's not your spiritual job, then it's time to look at what your spiritual job is. And for most of us, it is us growing inside, finding our path, and being on that path. So now the next thing that really leaps out at us is this Venus Mercury conjunction exactly at 20 degrees. Venus going backwards because it's retrograde, crashing into Mercury, and it making this exact square to Neptune, this planet of illusion and fantasy and intuition and spirituality. And so on the plus side, this is our imaginations lit up, going wild with ideas. There are people out there who are writing the best plays and the best stories right now. They're taking wonderful pictures. They are doing films and things like that. They are writing and composing and thinking about these plans. And then there are plans for new ways of living. People out there looking around and saying, I don't need all this stuff. Let me declutter. Let me live more simply. And so there are people who are redesigning their lives, and that's wonderful. Now, the square to Neptune, being Neptune is also a malefic, also can cause a lot of confusion and fear. And this is, I'm not getting all the information that I need, or I'm overwhelmed by the information and I don't know what to trust. And that is when you're in that whirlwind of, that I'm going to check this link and this link and this link and this link, and not stopping and just allowing that energy to settle. So Neptune is like a fog, and when the fog clears, there is enormous clarity, but you have to give it a moment. If you're driving like a maniac through the fog, yes, you can really run into something, but if you stop for a moment, the fog moves, the fog lifts, and you'll get that unbelievable clarity. How you do that in the practical world is you turn off the media for 30 minutes a day or 5 minutes an hour, and you just sit for a moment and you ask yourself the question, which asks the question of your higher self and the universe. And the question can be, what is this information for me? Well, what is my next step? What is the message I should be gaining from this? What action should I take next? So asking really good questions activates the positive energy of this chart and lets you really move forward. So then let's take a look here. We've been doing this aspect for a while of Saturn making this inconjunct to the North Node. Now, this one is going to get a little bit more more difficult to recognize as the North Node continues its journey backwards and goes to 29 Gemini. And when that happens, it will still be the inconjunct, but the energy will be waning, plus it'll be out of sign. So we won't have such a strong feeling of it. This aspect is very much about us going through changes and learning to adapt, but maybe resenting that process of saying, I don't want to make changes. I don't want to make accommodations for others. I feel like I just want to live my life. I want things back the way they were, which could be indicated both by the Cancer energy and Saturn itself, which likes tradition. And yet the Aquarius energy says, no, we have to do something new. And so we're all being shoved into this new paradigm where we have to do different things and to really take into consideration other people. So what we show here is that there is this sort of inconjunct, which is just this grinding sort of uncomfortable feeling that causes us to say, I don't want to do this. And how we need to approach this is to say, this is kind of an adventure. I'm curious about what's going to happen, because curiosity destroys fear. So if we can say, you know, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder how I'm going to do in all of this. I wonder who I'm going to meet and who I'm going to connect with. This aspect won't be so painful. Now, traditionally, this aspect, if you look it up in books like Ebertein's book, Combination of Stellar Influences, he literally says issues around the elderly, a community in mourning, a community attending a funeral, expressions of grief, depression, death of relatives. He is literally saying that what we are experiencing right now. So when we look at this, we know that we are experiencing true grief. And so some of this inconjunct energy, this energy that's bringing us down, is even when we're being positive, there's an underlying feeling of universal grief happening. And that, again, when we stop and perhaps light a white candle, say a little prayer for those who are passing now, and allow them to have that good journey where they are received on the other side, where we understand that we're staying here, then we're going to continue on the journey here, but they're going on their journey elsewhere. Now we also have Mars still in Pisces, or just now in Pisces, making a sextile here to Uranus, right? So here's our sextile, but here's where it gets extraordinary. Chiron is sitting at the midpoint between these two. Now, this combination gives extraordinary energy for healing. This gives us enormous determination. So this desire to be independent, and in this, we heal not just physical issues, but emotional and spiritual and mental issues as well. And so this is that you can use this energy and just, you know, do nothing. But you can, because it's a sextile, if you activate this energy, you can do really extraordinary things. And so you may want to look at different modalities of healing that you can do yourself. I mean, online there's a treasure trove of things of how you can do tapping, or there are affirmations, there are subliminal videos, there are all of these different things, and you may already have training from the past in touch healing or Reiki or something like that, acupuncture, acupressure, massage, where you could work on yourself or family members. And this would be very, very good, because as you activate this energy, then the blessings come in. And then we have this pair here that we talked about before with that square to Neptune, doing the inconjunct to this Pluto and Jupiter up here. So, and here, I mean, very obviously, Mercury and Venus wanting to have joy and fun and lightness and parties. You know, we all want to go to the beach or go to the park right now. But the inconjunct of Pluto, Jupiter in Capricorn says we have responsibilities, not just to ourselves, but to our family and to our community. And so we are torn about this. And there is a need to make adjustments. And that means not 100% do you have to do one or the other. You could find a way to spend some time in the park away from others when the parks do open, and enjoy nature and all of that, but then also being very aware of social distancing, etc., being responsible for the community, for your family, and for yourself. And so this inconjunct continues, and we feel it for the next month. And this is especially true as they do lift some of the restrictions. You're going to see a lot of people flood into these places. But we who are aware of this inconjunct have to realize that we also need to be responsible. Otherwise, the inconjunct could have difficult consequences. So I find it super interesting that when we do the natural chart, we got every single thing except the North Node on one side of the chart. And this is the self-directed side of the chart. And so everything right now is about you directing your own actions. This is not about waiting for somebody else to give you the idea of what to do and when to do it. It is you looking at, well, what is it that I want to do? What do I need to do? And what is the responsible thing to do? And finding the blend of that energy. Okay, so let's take a look at the finances for each sign going forward. And this will be from this new moon to the next new moon, which of course will be an eclipse. And so this, as we are approaching an eclipse, always those who are very spiritual aware will start to feel this energy early. And so you're already going to be feeling the energy of the upcoming solar eclipse at 0 degrees of Cancer. That means that there is going to be a lot of change. We're going to be talking about it. But as you are aware of the change, if you lean into the change, if you embrace the change, you are carried by the hands of the universe to a happy outcome. You will look back on this and say, oh, I'm so happy with my choices. So it is about looking at the change, that open door, and going through it. But let's talk about money. Specifically, let's start with Aries. So you guys have Uranus going through your second house. That's going to be a very long aspect. It does say you need to change how you handle money. You still have several years to do this, but the sooner you do it, the better. It also says change sources of income. That is that wherever you are expecting money to come from, it doesn't always come there, or the amounts are varying. The Uranus also has to do with technology, and so there are opportunities for you to pull money in by automating something. Now, the money in your second house is being pulled in by Venus. It always is, but this time Venus is in Gemini, where we've talked about it, making a conjunction. First, it's retrograde, then the conjunction to Mercury and the square to Neptune, and the inconjunct to Pluto and Jupiter. And so, one, you have a lot of ability to pull in money through sources of communication, also, through making some collaborations happening. But Venus is retrograde right now, which means that there are some delays in bringing money in. And so you plant the seeds, you'll harvest later. So, but you also may need to make some phone calls to get people to pay you. You have to watch the income coming in to make sure it's the right amount, because Venus retrograde can disturb that. But overall, this is a good aspect because it's very active. It's making aspects. When we look at your passive income sources, it is represented by Venus in conjunct Pluto, and The fact that you are making an aspect means good news. You are able to accumulate some money through passive income sources. However, changes are required for you really to capitalize on this. So you're going to have to make some adjustments, and it's something that you're not wanting to look at. So the first step is to open up your statements or go online and look at your balances. Just rip that Band-Aid off, see where you're at, and then start to decide what changes you're going to make. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, you have Saturn in the house, the 11th house, and the ruler of the second is not making an aspect with the ruler of the 11th, and this spells some trouble for you. You do need to look at, if you are having a paycheck right now, that might stop or it might be lessened. So you may be looking for another job. Make sure you fill out any sort of government grant paperwork or unemployment right away so that you can get that flowing in, because most of your income does show from passive income sources. That could be unemployment or other money coming in for your business, because there is pressure right now on your ability to make money from your career. So for Taurus natives, you have the moon, sun, Venus, and Mercury all in your house of money. That's amazing. You have multiple sources, multiple places where you can make money, and you can pull from all of those different houses, whatever houses those planets rule. So that means look at multiple sources, side jobs, selling things around the house, affiliate links, anything. You have tons and tons of sources of income. Now, their money is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is actually in your second house, and that does indicate selling things. If you are selling items, you can make money, you'll contact people, and that connection can last and bring you more things. It also does say that if you communicate through websites like LinkedIn or sending out your resume, you have a good chance of it being read and getting a response. When we're looking at your passive income, for you, it's going to be Mercury making an inconjunct to Jupiter. And while inconjunct isn't the most fun aspect, it is an aspect. And that means that passive income sources can make you some profits this month. That does mean that you need to look at your balances, even if it's painful. You have to go in and find out what's been happening over the last few months, even if you've been ignoring this. You may have to make some adjustments in your investment strategy, even though that's a little bit painful or perhaps outside your comfort zone. So make the calls, find the experts to help you do that, because you can, with activity, make some money this month. Your money that comes from your career also is showing up as being strong. You are doing Mercury square Neptune. And while Neptune can be a little elusive, such as somebody saying, I'm going to pay you later, you will get paid. So there is the ability for you to manifest more money through doing a little bit of magic. So if you are concerned about your job, you can light candles, do prayers, affirmations, and that can help the person who is in charge pick you to be the one who continues to get the paycheck, or for the person who is looking for the new hire to put your resume on the top. So look to doing some magic and connect spiritually to help you achieve more money through career. For Gemini natives, things are looking quite good for this month. You do have the North Node in your second house, which can put some extra pressure on making money. But for the first time in 18 months, that North Node will be leaving that house and the pressure is relieved. So you do have some serious income opportunities for this next 4 weeks. when we look at where you're pulling money from, it is right from that moon in Gemini, in your own sign, in your first house. That means that you yourself is the source of money. That is, you can't wait for somebody else to put you on a list. You have to make sure that you're on the list. And you can't wait for someone to decide whether you're going to get hours. You say, call them up and say, I need the hours. By you taking the action, you get to the front of the line. Now, when we look at your passive income sources, you are doing Moon trine Saturn. And while it's Saturn and that can sound difficult, it is an aspect, and it's a wonderful aspect. It's a trine, which means that through careful study, through you looking at different forms of investing, you can get money from passive income sources. You could also get money from sources such as business partnerships and from government. And that indicates that if you're filling out an application, perhaps for a loan or a grant, it can go through. So you definitely want to do it. The most challenging part is it's a trine. It's too easy. You put it off and say, oh, I'll just do it later because it's so easy to do. And this is a mistake. You want to take action, because if you do, then the benefits roll in. Now, career energy is the strongest for you, though, when it comes to making money, because you're doing Moon square Mars. And that means that you are working a lot of hours, and that makes for a bigger paycheck. And so it's quite likely that you could be working weekends, you could have a second job, and in general, your hours are increasing. So it's good news that your paychecks are going to be large, but you are probably going to need a nap when we get to June. So Cancer natives, you have an empty second house, but that doesn't mean you can't make money, because you are pulling money from the moon in the 12th house. And that means that first step is to do something more on the spiritual side. You need to put yourself in the harmony of the money. And when you harmonize with that energy, it will come to you. Now, it's completely understandable that sensitive Cancer natives are more concerned with what's going on with the home and the family. But if you can take a few minutes each day and light a candle or sprinkle some herbs or do a prayer, do an affirmation. If you do that, then the money starts to flow in. Even before you pick up the phone, if you say a little prayer or affirmation that the other person's going to be amenable to whatever you're asking, you'll get much better results. Now, when it comes to passive income sources, you're doing Sun semi-sextile Uranus. You are doing an aspect. That's very good, but it's an irritating one. It does say that you probably have to change a few different parameters of your investments, or perhaps move money from one place to another. It means that there could be some delays in you getting what you want from government programs, but it is coming in because you are making an aspect. So be confident that it's coming in, and then budget with that in mind, that it could be a little late. When it comes to your money from career, you're still dealing with Uranus in your money derived from career house, and there is no aspect between the ruler of the second and the ruler of the 11th, and so we have some instability here. This means that money might come in one week and not be there the next, or that there could be changes in your pay a scale or a pay rate. It could mean a side job was here, but now it's not. So we have all of this different energy coming in. So it is best to, again, go back to doing the magic, go back to the meditations, because that's where you're going to clear the path and align yourself to finding the opportunities. You will resonate with that ability to receive. So Leo natives, you have an empty second house, but that's not a problem because you can still make money. You are making money pulling from that Mercury in the 11th house, and that is through technology, also from your career, and for doing new things. The more new things that you try and do, the more seeds you plant, and the more money you'll make, not just from the new things, but also from traditional sources. So this says go do new things. Maybe you're starting out on doing your sessions by video, or perhaps you're starting to teach by video. Maybe you are writing a newsletter or doing a podcast. Any of these things, while they may not bring the money directly, they stimulate other money-making aspects for you. When we look at your passive income, it's Mercury square Neptune, which means that you are able to make money through passive income sources, especially if you add in the little magic, Feng Shui, etc. Dust off your lucky money frog, feed the lucky money cat, get those things activated, and that will help you make more money, or at least even see the investment opportunities for yourself, where you can put a small amount of money in and have that grow through some sort of leveraged investing. This also says that money is coming in through partnerships. That can be your spouse or a business partner. It also could come in through government agencies. And your money derived from career is exceedingly strong, where you have 4 planets in your 11th house, and all of them are nice planets, but we see a lot of money coming in and going out, and maybe you're sending it out to friends and family, but there is like this revolving door on your checking account right now. So it would be good to hide a little of that money that's coming in so that you can stash it away like a little squirrel for the future. I know, I just told a Leo the lion that they're a squirrel. I see the irony. Yes. So Virgo natives, you guys are pulling money in from Venus in the 10th house, and Venus is retrograde. So this is where you need to work a little bit harder to make sure that you're seen. You do have some money opportunities through career, through getting other jobs and things like that, but it's challenging because while Venus is retrograde, it's disappointing what you receive. And so it's very important this month that you put your energy and focus elsewhere. Do more things about creating, check in with friends, allow other people to support you. By the same token, we see that there are some challenges when it comes to passive income sources. Again, this is about getting the paperwork filled out for government programs, or actually looking at your balances and not panicking about it, but recognizing you're a long-term investor, and where you were a short-term investor, maybe it's time to look at other investments. When we look at your money derived from career, we have the North Node still in your house, but it will be moving out of that house very soon, and that's going to give you some relief right there. But overall, when it comes to your money, you are having probably the toughest time of all the signs. So it is time for you to call in favors, to allow people to support you. Ask for help. You will get the help if you ask for it. So don't be shy about this, but tell everybody, I'm going to need some help this month, and allow them to love you and give to you. So Libra natives, you are pulling money from your 6th house, that Mars there, and that means it is a month of hard work. The more work and effort you put in, the more riches you're going to get. And I'm sure you're already aware of this. You probably have a list a mile long of all the things that you can do to make money. Focus on the immediate money, and then take a little bit of time each day to do things that are more long-term and balance it out that way. So maybe like a 80-20 split or a 70-30 split, where 70% of your time is on current money projects, and then 30% of your time is on future money projects. When it comes to passive income, we're looking at some Uranus activity, which means you may get a tip about an investment. However, it is going to take some research because it will be something new to you. But in general, your passive income sources aren't very strong this month. It means that applications you've put through, you may have to check those to see if they got to the right place, or if there's some missing data that people need. We see some delays in this area. We also see that your investments may have taken a beating, and yet it's not quite time to get out of those investments. It's more a time to make some plans rather than taking action when it comes to passive income sources. Now, the good news is Money derived from career is very strong. You are doing a Sun square Mars, and this means that you yourself that have the talents and abilities to make lots of money through your career. And that can be your main career, side businesses, things that you're doing with other people. This is where you're going to get paid. You have lots of hours you can get. You can add in more hours if you want, but that's where your strongest income producing energy is coming from. Scorpio natives, you are pulling money from Jupiter at the base of your chart in the third house, and this means that money is coming in through communication, through study, education. Maybe you're teaching, writing, preaching. All of those things can help you make money. That also could mean filling out applications, doing loans or agreements or things like that. This could bring you some contract work. Now, when it comes to your passive income, you do show an inconjunct between Mercury and Jupiter, and this does indicate that you have to make some adjustments in what you're doing, but it's an aspect, which means that you are accumulating money through passive income sources, but consider if you need to move an investment here or there. Check applications you've done for government programs, make sure they've gone through. Do that little extra work, the work you don't want to do, the work that makes you feel uncomfortable, and that's where the riches are. And this is the same aspect that you're doing for money derived from career. And that is, you might have to talk to your supervisor about getting more hours, or you may have to apply for a job that you don't really like, but is going to make you some extra money. You do have such a strong money chart for this period, but it does all fall into areas where you're not feeling the most happy and comfortable. So move toward the discomfort, move out of your comfort zone, and that's where you're going to accumulate money. So Sagittarius natives, you are doing Pluto, Jupiter, and the South Node in your house of money. And you're going to be doing most of these for a long time, at least the Pluto-Jupiter part. And that means that you are transforming your whole attitudes toward money. And with the Jupiter there, you have an enormous amount of luck for this year for money, all the way to December, as you really want to take more risks when it comes to finding ways to make money by starting your own business, or maybe venturing out into a new vocation or profession. Now, the Pluto says transform how you're doing money, and it's in Capricorn, which means a written budget, watching the pennies, knowing that if a dollar comes in, you know what that dollar is for, and it goes right to that. It's not about freewheeling and just trusting that it's all going to work out. It is about being extremely diligent, all the way to controlling about your money. Now, your money house is pulling money from Saturn in the third house, which does say technology, communication, selling, anything where you can do partnerships, especially newfangled partnerships, because it is in Aquarius, and looking at what you can do teaching and writing and podcasts and things like that. Those are sources where you can start to pull in money for yourself. You have a very good aspect for your passive income sources, which is Moon trine Saturn, which does mean that applications for loans and grants and things like that do go through, but it is a trine and Saturn is involved. And so it is really good to give it a little push by checking on things on a regular basis. It is also says that investments can go well and that you might receive messages, intuition about which direction to take investments. And you want to pause long enough to read that information inside of you and see how it applies to the world. You don't want to wake up the next day and realize that you had the intuition and didn't act on it. So there is a lot of money opportunities when it comes to passive income sources. This also includes businesses and business partnerships, as well as partnerships with your spouse. Now, those passive income sources do show stronger than career sources. Now, career shows a little bit of weakness. There's nothing in your house of money derived from career, and there's no aspect that it's making with the ruler of the second. And so therefore, it does show that if you have a job right now, there may be a cut in your income. There may be an interruption in this job. You may be between jobs right now because it is the universe is kind of focusing you on creating business income sources and passive income sources and giving you that time to study these things. So it is possibly saying that going forward, your job is not going to be so much in demand, so you want to make a bigger change. For Capricorn natives, Saturn is in your second house. It's not going to be there too much longer. Then it's going to back out of there, go back into your sign of Capricorn for a few months, and it will be back in your second house in December, and it will remain there for 2.5 years. And I've talked about this over and over. Everybody looks at Saturn and goes, oh, restriction and all that, but Saturn is a slow growth wealth aspect. It says transform, change how you deal with money, by being super responsible about it, and by looking at new ways of bringing in money, and you could become wealthy. This is starting with making a few pennies, maybe from your YouTube channel or through affiliate marketing, but then having it slowly grow into a sizable portion of your income. It also does say, look at how you keep track of your money and make changes there, because Saturn is about being responsible. So being responsible and looking at it from, how could I expand my money beyond just me? Because Aquarius talks about humanitarian endeavors. So it would be, if I wanted to create a foundation where I helped thousands or tens of thousands of people, where could I get the money? Or it is, how can I amass money so that I can, start an organization to help, cat lovers or people who don't like cats. Your second house is pulling money from Uranus in your fifth house. Fifth house is creativity. It is risk-taking. It is where you have fun. You can find money sources where people have fun. That's in the entertainment industry, or by your own doing creative things. So you also do want to take some risks. With the Saturn in the second, the risks are small. So that would be small investments like buying a single share of stock, or maybe go into buying something with many others. And so your exposure to risk is mitigated. It's much less. Fifth house also indicates doing something with your adult kids. Maybe they want to do a business, or they can help you get online to do your own business, or perhaps you're doing something with childcare. When it comes to passive income, the aspect is Uranus semi-sextile the sun, and this is not as fun an aspect, perhaps, but this is an aspect, and that's what we want. It says that you're slightly uncomfortable looking at your statements, going through things, looking at, where you're getting fees and charged for things, and it's necessary for you maybe to phone them up and say, hey, is there a better fee schedule I can get? It is also about checking in on applications you've done, make sure that a field wasn't missed, or that yours is sitting in somebody's inbox unread. But there are opportunities for passive income, so that is the good news. And the career news is even better because it's Uranus sextile Mars, and so there are opportunities for a new job, increase of hours, even increase in pay or increased commissions, because this is an aspect that as you take action, opportunities present themselves. So this is, put yourself forward, make the calls, even just to check in on clients to see how they're doing, and you will find that from all different directions, money opportunities come to you. For Aquarius natives, you guys are doing Neptune and Mars in the second house. Now, you've been doing Neptune for a while, and you will be doing Neptune for a while, and Neptune can make making money a little bit vague. But Mars is here now, and it is strong. It is able to say, I'm going to actually focus my energies and take some action. And Mars is not going to be there too much longer, so you want to capitalize on this. And that is, when you get up in the morning, ask yourself, how can I make $100 today? How can I make $1,000 today? And let your super brain work on this problem. When we look at where the second house is pulling money from, it is pulling money from that Neptune, and that is a reminder to do the spiritual, to do the magic, to do the Feng Shui, so that you activate your energy and harmonize it with the money energy out there. Because once you're both spinning in the same direction, it's much easier to attract what you want. And so look at the different money magic things that you can do, like burning money incense, or perhaps getting some lucky money fish, sweeping off your porch, and things like that. Also doing meditations, doing visualization, affirmations, a goal board. Any of these things can help put you in alignment with money energy. When we're looking at your passive income sources, it's Mercury square Neptune, a very strong aspect. It does say, because the Neptune is there, it says maybe it's confusing at first, but it's going to clear as you work with it. And so pull out your statements and figure out what's going on, where the money is coming in. Look at the markets in general and see what the trends are going to be. If you're doing applications for government assistance, focus your energy that way, visualize that stamp of approval and the money coming into your account. And finally, when we look at your money derived from career, it's Neptune sextile Jupiter, fabulous aspect. Again, it's all about you getting into a spiritual place of resonating that energy to say, yes, money can come to me. And so visualize yourself getting the additional hours, or that if there are job cuts, that your job remains there. If you are sending out applications for a job, visualize yourself at the interview, then visualize yourself getting the offer letter so that you can harmonize with that energy. And again, of course, any sort of spiritual steps you can take, such as meditation, chanting, any of those things will help. So, and Pisces natives, you guys are doing Chiron in the second house. You have been doing Chiron for a while, and you will be doing Chiron for a while. And Chiron is about healing. And so you are healing your relationship with money. And the more actively you work on this, the better. And you might want to start with something as simple as holding a dollar bill in your hand and heal that relationship that you have with that dollar bill, to say, all right, I'm going to send healing energy and loving energy to this dollar bill so it can send it back to me. You may want to look at hypnosis or hypnotherapy, tapping to remove money blocks. Look at the subconscious and where you feel maybe you don't deserve the money and that's blocking you. What were the messages you got in childhood that are holding you back? When we look at where that second house is pulling from, it's grabbing Mars right in your first house and pulling money towards you. That's fantastic. That means anything that you do that has your name on it is going to make you money. That is that you're the star. You are the person who calls up, not to say, hey, this group needs this, or my family needs this. It's I need this. And when you state I, that's when good things happen. When we look at your passive income sources, you're not doing an aspect, and this means just leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't sell it. Don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. It is not something that you need to be focused on this month. Just let it ride. Just make sure that you understand you're a long-term investor and things are going to get better. Same thing with business or a spouse's income. Don't try to get involved in it. Let your business just unfold as it's doing. Trust that it's going to work with your spouse. Don't worry about what they're doing. Allow them the space they need to get the money, from whatever job or sources they get money from. This is not an area for you to put a lot of time and energy. But when it comes to income derived from career, you are doing an aspect. It's Saturn semi-sextile Mars, which isn't the most comfortable aspect, but it is an aspect, and it's an active one. It says for you to go out and do things when it comes to your career that are a little outside your comfort zone, a little bit irritating, not huge, not out clearly different, but just slightly different, where you might in passing mention to your boss that you could work more hours, in passing to somebody that you're overdue for a raise, that you are raising your prices or something like that. You can take on a side job, and that would be okay. But again, it would be something that's slightly uncomfortable, but not so different than what you've done before that you really dislike it. This is a good aspect for making a lot of money if you're willing to just put yourself out a little bit. And that's it. I know this was a really long video, so if you stuck through with me the whole way, thank you so much. I do want to say just a couple of things going forward, and that is that it is very important, as I said at the beginning, to maintain your stockpile at home, maintain the things that you need just in case things get ugly again and we get locked down again, which is a very good possibility, that you don't have to go out because you have everything you need at home. So this is especially true because we are doing Uranus and Taurus, which can interrupt food supply. It can interrupt money supply. It can it just interrupts anything that makes us comfortable. So I thank you so much for your support on this channel and for astrology in general, and I wish you joy and prosperity.